We're moving towards a circular economy.
Circulaire. Circular.
More and more, we see companies advertising their products as circular.
Circular people do reuse and recycle.
Réparation des batteries.
All we need to do is use circular economy business models.
But what does labeling your product as circular even mean? Is it taking the next step beyond sustainability? Does using recycled materials just make something circular? Or is it just marketing? Welcome everyone. We are proud to present our fully circular solar panel. So what makes it circular? That means that all the parts can be recirculated, so repaired, remanufactured, or recycled. So when my solar panel is broken, I call you and you repair it. Well, we could, but we designed the solar panels, so the repair and recycling isn't our core business. We could get you in touch with our installer. And what about the remanufacturing? Is that something that you offer as well? Well, it is quite hard to get that certified, but we are working on a take-back agreement. And so when the solar panel is actually completely broken, can you recycle it at low cost? Well, of course, that's how we designed it. But recyclers, they care about scale, so we do need to capture 10% of the market first. So what makes it circular again? Well, it's complex. It's complex because behind every product lies an incredibly complex industry. It helps to imagine the industry as a human body. For it to be healthy, all of its flows need to circulate through the system. However, in our current linear system, the flows don't circulate and they clog up somewhere. Let's break it down with an example. Let's take solar panels. First, the raw materials are gathered, typically mined, and they are manufactured into parts. Then, according to a specific design for solar panels, a module manufacturer assembles these parts into a solar panel. Once you have manufactured the modules, a distributor will connect those to a consumer, and the solar panels are then installed. Solar panels are then used for a number of years, if not decades. Unfortunately, the lifetime is usually much shorter than the technically possible lifetime. There are some companies who are working on that part of the value chain, and I'll put the link in the description below. Once a panel does reach the end of its lifetime, in the Netherlands, in the best case, it's shredded and used as a filler in construction. In a lot of other places in the world, however, it is still landfilled, and this leads to ecotoxicity, and of course, all of the precious materials are lost. In short, our current system is linear and clogged. Our challenge is to make this system circular and flowing again. This means that waste from other products is reused, remanufactured in order for it to be used in new products. This means that each party contributing to this flow needs to participate in making it circular. However, it's not our goal to control and check each one of these parties. Biosphere's approach can be compared much better to something like acupuncture, where you apply a small point of pressure in this complex system to get everything flowing again. Great story, right? How is this happening in practice? One of the projects that we're working on is the FAIRPV project. Let's hear from the manager of this project, Sietse de Wilder, how this approach is being put into practice.
So in this project, we aim to change the solar industry into a repairable, transparent and sustainable one. This doesn't just happen by creating a new product. You actually need to engage with the entire value chain from the start. And that's why we are adopting the Living Lab research approach. So what often happens in research projects is that it stays within the academic bubble. Say they finish writing a paper, but it ends up somewhere in a drawer. So what we do is we really connect stakeholders from the real world, say policymakers, industry leaders and consumers from the start. So we also aim to test our innovations with these parties to guarantee sustainable impact that works for the entire value chain. And that's how we engage the whole ecosystem. So let's ground this in an example, what we're working on in the Living Lab. A dynamic digital product passport developed by Circularise and TU Delft. So this tool will allow for collecting data throughout the life cycle of a solar panel. So we're already validating this tool by collecting data from the supply chain of Biosphere Solar. Imagine we follow one of their solar panels. What happens if an end user decides to replace or repair it? It ends up at a refurbisher or a recycler. But what information do these parties need to make their processes truly circular? So in this project, we're taking several steps. We're first identifying relevant data points, then we're actually collecting this data with the supply chain of Biosphere Solar, then we're incorporating this data in the prototype for the dynamic digital product passport, and then finally we're actually testing this product passport with parties in the real world to test whether this actually helps them in making more circular decisions. So this all sounds really complicated, but it is a very complex ecosystem. And it's the only way to ensure that the product passport that we're developing is actually going to help change the industry of today.
So to wrap that up, the Living Lab identifies the best spots to place these acupuncture pins in order to get the whole value chain flowing again. So you might have already guessed where Biosphere Solar is placing its pins. In the design phase. Right now, solar panels are completely glued together, which clogs up the end of life step because it's impossible to repair or recycle the panels. In our last video, we announced our product launch of a fully disassemblable solar module. This means that downstream, a whole myriad of business opportunities will emerge for repair, recycling, and remanufacturing. After gathering years of experience in this industry, Biosphere Solar has identified an even more pressing point where we need to apply pressure to make the system flow again. This is in the manufacturing process. Stay tuned for our next video to hear more. Where are you on the solar value chain? Whether it's in installation, data, waste processing, or manufacturing, Biosphere Solar is looking to close the loop by coupling the market to the industry and vice versa. Reach out to us via our website or join our global community on Discord, because nothing is circular until everything is circular.